Hello everyone, thank you for joining me once again for a Perezpective review of 11/22/63, the Hulu original miniseries based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. Today we're going to be discussing episode 8, The Day in Question, which is the last episode of the series, unfortunately. And I gotta say, I was wrong about from the last episode. We did get the ending pretty much from the book. It's a little differences here and there, but it was a good episode. I liked it. I love the ending of the book. It came close. I'm satisfied. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the episode itself. The previous episode, we get to the day. We get to 11/22/63, the day of the assassination, and we see Oswald's already up there. He's getting ready, to just waiting for for JFK to come by and with his motorcade. Now, Sadie and Jake have not arrived yet, and they're trying to get to the place. The past is pushing back already, right from the very beginning of this episode, by making a street congested. Pretty much, it blocks off their clear route to the location, which I believe I don't remember if it's in the series, but I believe in the book there's kind of a route to what was supposed to be a clear lane, what was supposed to be the fastest way to get there. Now, not only do we see that, we see Sadie and Jake both bump into people or a ghost from the past, which I don't know if that part was really the past pushing back, if that was just them with their minds. A little bit of both. Which is what I really think is. It's a little bit of both. We see first of Jake bump into somebody who he believes to be Frank Dunning, and then Sadie bumps into somebody who she believes to be Johnny Clayton, and then finally Jake gets tripped by somebody who he believes to be Bill. And is this just things that are happening that are not allowing them to get to the place they're supposed to be? Jake says he knows how to get to the place because he's been surveillancing it, or he's been studying it for the last 3 years. He goes through an alley and it's locked, which he's easily able to go through the lock. And finally, he gets to, not finally, second to the last. He's going down this location where there's this bus, and what happens is that there's a car coming right at him, basically going to run over them, and they jump into the bus. Car hits everything. Luckily everyone's out of there. Say changed it changed a little bit from the book. That's not exactly how it goes in the book. But if you guys want to know what happens there, you need to read the book. There's enough change so you won't even get what happened just by what I'm saying here. And then he gets to the depository, and the guy Bonnie is closing up because the boss told him they're going to go ahead and close down the building because of JFK. However, in reality, it was supposed to stay open. So that's the last one of people getting in their way. So Jake goes up the building to try to stop Lee, and there's no continuation of the stairs for going up to level 6. So they have to go through a different way, and they get there right after he's shot the first bullet, which is is missed. The second 2 bullets are the ones that hit JFK and then ultimately kill him. So they stop him before he gets the second shot. He's actually taking shots inside the building because he's trying to stop them. And we see that JFK and everybody in the car gets away. So Jake succeeds. He stops JFK from getting killed. He's able to see that, but we still have Oswald, who's causing trouble by shooting his rifle within the book depository level 6 there in that area. And he kind of starts getting crazy with the gun. After a while, he does shoot the gun out of Jake's hands, and Jake has to wrestle him. First, he tells Sadie to stay in a location, and Oswald is shooting everywhere. Jake gets to him. He wrestles him, gets the gun, and he's able to shoot him dead. A little bit changed from the book. Once again, the book, it's changed enough so that if you read the book, It's not. It's I guess if you see the series, a little bit of a spoiler, but it is changed enough from the book. Jake turns to go look for Sadie, and unfortunately, Sadie's been hit by a stray bullet of Lee's, and she passes away in the book depository before any help can arrive. And of course, because Jake's there in the room where the shot came from that tried to kill the president, he gets arrested. Not only is the shots get taken from there, but there's 2 dead people in the building. So we go to the interrogation. Agent Hosty, who was surveillancing Lee this whole time, and the head of the Dallas PD are interrogating Jake because they believe he had something to do with the assassination attempt. Of course, we know he didn't, and Hosty is not really saying anything. It's not until Jake kind of throws the blame on him, saying that he should have been the one to stop him. He should have been there. That Hosty decides to send the chief, or I don't know if he was the chief or I forgot what his title was. He sends him away so that he can talk with Jake, and Jake pretty much tells him, "I know who you are. I know that Oswald sent you this letter," which is what I said last week, that this letter is still unknown to everybody. As far as we know, nobody knows what it says, at least anybody who's alive, because Agent Hosty has passed away already. And it was burned by him before anybody could know what was inside that letter, the contents of that letter. And pretty much that's what happens in this episode. Jake says, right now one of your superiors is going to come in and it's going to ask you to burn that letter. And it happens, which Agent Hosty pretty much says, well, who are you? He believes that he is an agent, a spy from another country, that they were all working together and it all went sideways, or they changed their mind or something, and pretty much 2 of them ended up dead. And he's willing to sell the story to the public if Jake will not cooperate with him. However, they are interrupted by a phone call by JFK, who thanks Jake for saving his life, as well as Jacqueline Kennedy. She thanks him for saving their life, and she says that, I know that you loved your fiance, and that she's sorry for his loss. Which from this point I was already like, okay, well, I mean, what is Hosty going to do now that the president has thanked and knows about Jake? There's no way they can do something to Jake without the president being like, hey, what the hell? So Jake gets away. Hosty takes him to the bus stop where he's going to go back towards Lisbon, and they have a little chat there. It's very faithful. This episode is very faithful to the ending of the book. Not 100% faithful. They did change some things here and there, and we'll get to that. So Jake heads back to Lisbon, where he plans to go back to 2016. And right before he goes in, he pretty much says he's going to come back. He wants to save Sadie. He wants to make sure that Sadie's okay. So he gets back to the future, or back to 2016, and we can tell right away it's different. The diner's gone. The buildings look pretty bad. The people he's able to see they look a little off, and it's not the same place he left. It's not the same 2016 he left, and it is something he's trying to get his mind around, but he doesn't know what's going on. He runs into Harry, who is fighting off these kids, and Harry's able to recognize who he is as a person who killed his father. And he even asks him if he's an angel, because he hasn't aged a bit on that whole time frame from when Harry was a kid. Jake says no, of course not, and he asks questions as to see what's going on. And quite a bit of things happened after saving JFK. Now, one of the things that happened, of course, was JFK was able to serve his second term, and after Kennedy served his second term, General Wallace was Kennedy's successor. And during this time frame, there was a global bombing Of course, there's a lot of stuff happen. We see a little bit there in Lisbon, and we see, we hear, we hear Harry say that JFK set up these camps so that people can survive out there, and part of Harry's family was in there, and it was not a fun place to be. I think he says that pretty much all his family died there. His brother died joining the militia during that time frame. So all this, not only Sadie being dead, but the timeline that he's come back to is not the same. It's a far worse history than what would happen if JFK would have died. Is all that comes together, and he says, "Okay, I got to go back." So he goes back to 1960, and right away, and this is one of the big things that did change. And I'm not gonna take away too much from the episode, but I wish this little piece would have stayed the same. He bumps into Sadie right away, who is visiting her family in Lisbon, and of course she doesn't know who he is. And he goes over there. He's all wet because it was raining in 2016 when he went through the rabbit hole, and he's dirty, and he looked just like a crazy person, but he's able to get Sadie's attention. And when he's talking to her in a diner, the yellow card man shows up, and pretty much he goes out to talk to her, and pretty much he says, "You're in this loop. You're in your own loop." And Jake doesn't want to accept it. He says, "I'm going to be able to save her." And the yellow card man says, "No, you're not. This is the way it's going to happen. Time after time after time. No matter what you do, Sadie is going to die." Jake takes this to heart, actually, because when he turns around, Sadie's there, and they shake hands, and Sadie knows, "I do know you, I just don't know from where." And Jake decides it's a mistake. He goes back to 2016. He resets the timeline. So now Sadie survived being shot by Oswald's gun, but he does not know what happens to her, and he's miserable. He's back to being at the same place he was at the beginning of the episode of the series, where he's unhappy with his life. Not only is he now divorced, he is also still teaching at the school with these students that just don't care. Eventually, we see that he goes ahead and decides that he's gonna look up Sadie, and he finds that she's being honored as the person of the year for Sadie, for Jody, and he decides he's gonna go down there, and she has aged. Believe should be around her. If she's not in her 80s, she's going to be in her 80s, and you can see and look in Jake's eyes. He still loves her. He still loves Sadie, no matter how old she is. They did a good job in capturing the ending here. He decides that he's gonna request the song. He dances with Sadie, and when he was dancing with her, even though she's the older Sadie, when he's dancing with her, he sees her as the young, beautiful Sadie he met back in 1960. So what can I say? I love this episode. I love the ending of the series because it did stay very true to the ending of the book. I really didn't think we were gonna get this ending, so I was wrong on that part. The stopping of Oswald came fast. It came before the 15-minute mark that I had said that if it went past that, we're not gonna get this ending. It was way within that time frame. What I liked is that the older Sadie was played by a different actress, so we didn't get the same actress in old makeup, which doesn't always look great at all. The changes that they did, I won't go into detail, but they did change up the purpose of the Yellow Card Man. As we saw in the last episode, he's a time traveler himself. He's stuck in a loop, and his fate in itself is changed from the book. Won't go into the differences from the book or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and do a series overview with my friend Nick, and we'll talk. Well, I've read the book. He hasn't read the book. We'll talk about the series in total, and we'll do some comparisons and I'll let him know how the book goes and see if he agrees with me of some of the improvements, and I'll see if I can think of some things that the series did better from the book. So what did you all think? What did you all think of this show, of the series in general? Really, did you like the episode? Did you like the series? What didn't you like? Let me know, and we'll talk about that next time around. I want to remind you guys you can find me here on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at Perezpective, and you can also find my videos at nerdfeed.com along with all the Let's Chat team, the videos for all the Let's Chat team. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. We'll see you guys next week for the full series overview.